Can I 10-15 minutes more if you guys are okay, at least to yeah. Is that okay? Like yeah, let me know. I'm open for like dropping off if anyone has.
I'm fine.
Okay. So let's at least cover this pull model, read up the pull model right away till the state storage, or we can stop after the state storage. Okay. Pull model. So after these, do we need to go to these pages?
Yeah,
Okay. So this one here, right?
yeah,
Okay, sorry. My bad. I think these looks like longer ones. Consumer. Yeah, there are more topics here.
yeah. This is the second one.
Okay,
Yeah, this is the first page, and then
this is second,
yeah, this is yeah.
and this is third. Okay, okay, okay. Let's maybe at least complete the pull model and then stop then. Okay. Pull model pros. Consumers control the consumption rate. We can have one set of consumers process messages in real time, and another set of consumers process message in batch mode. Yeah, so that they actually I think that's where they are making that distinction that we were earlier assuming, like in terms of push model. If the rate of consumption falls below the rate of production, we can scale out the consumers or simply catch up when it can. The pull model is more suitable for batch processing. In the push model, the broker has no knowledge of whether consumers will be able to process messages immediately. If the broker sends one message at a time to the consumer is backed up. The new message will end up waiting in the buffer. A pull model pulls all available messages after consumer's current position in the log or up to the configurable max size. It is suitable for aggressive batching of data. Yeah, so I think this is one like this is a good point. A pull model pulls all available messages after the consumer's current position in the log or up to the configurable max. It is suitable for aggressive batching of data. Cons. When there is no message in the broker, a consumer might still keep pulling data and wasting resources. To overcome this issue, many message queues support long polling mode, which allows pulls to wait a specified amount of time for new messages. Based on these consideration, most message queues choose the pull model. Figure shows the workflow of consumer pull model. Join consumer group 1 and subscribe to topic A. Coordinator, okay, so this is broker 1, topic A partition to broker 2. So a consumer joins the consumer group 1 and subscribes to topic A. Partition 2 dispatched, fetch messages and process data and commit offset. Okay, so basically, whenever a consumer joins, the coordinator will try to route it to a specific partition, and whenever it knows about the specific partition, it will try to go to that partition to fetch the messages, and after fetching the message, it will try to commit the offset. So that's what the pull model, like that's what this diagram says. So a new consumer wants to join the group 1 and subscribes to topic A. It finds corresponding broker node by hashing the group name. By doing so, all the consumers in the same group connect to the same broker, which is also called the coordinator of this consumer group. Despite the naming similarity, the consumer group coordinator is different from the coordination service mentioned in figure 4.8. This coordinator coordinates the consumer group, while the coordination service mentioned earlier coordinates the broker cluster. Yeah. So this basically this is just a single point of connect for all the consumers, So that's why it's called as a coordinator. Instead of connecting to all the partitions separately, our consumers could just go to the coordinator, coordinator of broker, and then it will like try to reroute it to the particular partition. So that's the routing part is basically being done by the coordinator node. The coordinator confirms that the consumer has joined the group and assigns partition 2 to the consumer. There are different partition assignment strategies, including round robin, range, etc. And then consumer fetches messages from the last consume offset, which is managed by the state storage. Consumer processes messages and commits the offset to the broker. The order of the data processing and offset committing affects the message delivery semantics, which will be discussed shortly. The order of data processing and offset committing affects the message delivery semantics. Yeah. Any questions, anyone so far? Yeah. So I think at least this is straightforward. And yeah, just the only confusing line I found so far was this: a pull model pulls all available message after consumer's current position in the log. So I'm assuming that the consumer's current position in the log is nothing but an offset that they are trying to point to. So if it is pulling in batch, it will try to pull, let's say, number of messages uh, ahead of offset. And if it is trying to pull number of messages ahead of offset, then they are saying that it is called as aggressive batching of data.
There
So
was
why is it?
some state storage, huh?
I think state storage is nothing but what Praveen was talking about, I believe. Like, but yeah, I think that it will come ahead. Like, I think, but yeah, yeah. I think I am I think this is much related to the offset commit part. Uh, yeah, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go through it
Yeah,
later. I
yeah.
think it's in later.
Okay, yeah. So, any questions around the pull model? Okay, yeah. Yeah, we can start from consumer rebalancing tomorrow.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
सागर
Yeah, same.
मैंने लेट ज्वाइन किया था what was discussed.
So we discussed earlier. We were discussing the push model. So actually, we ran into some some doubts related to the push model, like how would the push uh, happen in terms of batches. So if the broker is pushing in batch, how would the acknowledgement and how would the offset commit will take place. So that's where most of the discussion happened. I think you joined somewhere in the middle. Yeah, but
I
before that we
joined
did
right
discuss.
before pull. So how would it take place? Like if we are doing it in batch, like just a brief about it.
Yeah,
Good question, Asim.
yeah. So let's assume, like, I think we were assuming too much of there were too much of assumption. Let's not think about batches at this moment, and it will be all easy.
Okay.
Consider that the broker is sending a couple of messages, and if those are acknowledged by the consumer, then it's fine. If it doesn't get acknowledged, the broker will try to resend those messages.
Okay.
Actually, Sagar, there is no batching in the push model.
I'm suspecting so, but I need to go back and check it once. I might have some misunderstanding, but yeah, uh, even I believe that there is batching in push model too, but need to confirm once.
Okay, and can we go back just
Sure.
so in the pull model, there is this the first point. pull model pros, consumer controls the consumption rate. We can have one set of consumers process messages in real time and another set of consumer process messages in batch mode.
Mhm.
So what does this mean?
So real time is nothing but one by one, right?
Okay, so are these going to be the, I mean, so let's say we have one consumer group. So whatever consumers we have in that, are they all going to be in the batch mode, or are they all going to be in one to one, or uh, I mean, they can be anything.
No, in one consumer, if one consumer group is configured to process it in real time, then every single consumer out of it will be connected to their respective partition. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm assuming that you follow that one consumer in a consumer group will be connected to one partition only. You're following that, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if one consumer is uh, basically subscribed to a particular partition, then it can try to pull in just one message at a time for that particular partition. Okay.
Okay.
And now let's say this consumer group is nothing but something like uh, billing service
Account.
or something like a order management service, let's say, or billing service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now there comes a separate service called as accounting service.
Okay.
Accounting service is very fast. So
Okay.
any consumer from the accounting service processes
Can pull in the batch.
yeah, so any consumer from the accounting service can try to subscribe through a batch mode, and it will always try to pull 10 messages at a time.
Okay. Okay.
So by default, we are assuming that the offset will be separately maintained for consumers from consumer group 1, and it will be separately maintained for the consumers from consumer group 2.
Okay. Do you know any real-time example of push and the pull model?
I think notification are usually the push models,
Yeah. Yeah.
and pull model is something like our I think timeline service, our Facebook or like timeline or
Okay.
timeline is a pull model.
Okay.
These are very crude examples, like very like simplest example. There could be more complicated example to pull model, push or push model. But to me,
How about the logs and all in the like we have log aggregation, all those services, right? We pull logs in the Splunk and all. So
yeah,
does that also is that also
there are both, even in Splunk login there are two modes. If you have a sync, then in sync you can try to basically um, store all the logs, and from sync it will keep pulling the logs, and there is a possibility where your application code can directly push the logs directly to the so I think there it's both, like both
okay?
pool works there. So there are these sidecars, right, like Kubernetes sidecars where the logs
Hmm.
they can be configured both in push and pull model. So Splunk supports
Okay.
both actually.
Okay.
Yeah, there is actually a separate like problem, like separate design question here in the same book, like separate chapter actually, the matrix aggregation. There they
Uh-huh.
are actually discussing both of these, pull and push in matrix aggregation.
Okay.
So generally the matrix aggregation is a very high scale thing, right? Like the scale would be too high. So so in some cases they try to implement the push part, and some cases they try to implement the pull. Like some part of design will be push, some part of the design will be pull.
Okay. And can you scroll up?
Yeah.
Yeah, up, up, up. Yeah, up. Uh, yeah, up. Okay, yeah, here. Uh, yeah, if you scroll a little bit up. So this is batching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I know those 2 points are a little blur,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, yesterday you were trying to describe this. The second point, which says the broker writes messages to the append logs in large chunks which leads to larger blocks of sequential writes and larger contiguous blocks of disk cache maintained by the operating system. Both lead to much greater sequential disk access throughput.
Mhm.
Can you explain this point?
Yeah. So the broker writes messages to append logs in large chunks, which leads to a larger block of sequential writes and larger contiguous block of disk cache. So what this means is, recently, I think some time ago, I think Praveen was talking about the fat file thing, right? So let's
Hmm.
say if we like, let me give like a crude example. Let's say if you are writing the messages to a single file,
Hmm.
then you tries to put that file into the disk.
Hmm.
Consider your block is as big as a fat file. I'm just taking some random example. This is not actually the exact thing, but just trying to abstract this. So you store some logs in a single file, like, and then tries to store that single file in a memory. So if you're trying to store a single file, let's say if it is stored as one complete block of memory.
Hmm.
Okay, so consider that the disk is fragmented in segments. So your this fat file where you stored like the messages in a single batch, it gets stored as a single segment. Okay, so
Uh,
now the all the messages numbered from, let's say, 100 to 200 are getting stored in a, let's say, same fat file, and that file is stored in a same segment.
what is segment?
Segment is nothing but a block of memory. So
And
you
what is block?
a block of memory, basically whenever you write any data on the disk, it always tries to batch together and writes a particular block of data onto the memory. Okay, does that, are you following this?
No.
Okay, so whenever the
So when you actually you have to sorry, Sagar, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. So when you have to write your data on the disk, so have you heard that the concept format the disk, right? And the file system format, right?
Uh, uh-huh.
So how it really it writes that. So it make, so like, in a layman terms, you can say that when you have a plain land and you want to put some homes over there. So you make a plan and you have everything, say like what is the road number, road name, house number, everything. The same way, your OS actually format the disk and create the tracks. Within a track, it creates the segment, and then within a segment, it creates the block, right?
Okay.
So when you write some data, so it write to a particular block, but how you identify that which block, right? So
Uh-huh.
that has that, okay, the block belongs to this track, and within this track it belongs to this segment, and then there is a block. So how it actually read that offset, when you say that offset in the file, that has that encoded information to reach up to there.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what they're talking, and when you they are talking about the sequential, right? So depends on your file system. So, what is the smallest data it can read and write from the disk? So, when you say that, okay, I want to read 1 byte, so it does not mean that it will read only 1 byte. Depends on that, what is the minimum size it can read, and the operating system works based on that, what is the block size. So, they can read and write a block at a time.
Okay.
So if your block size is or page size is 4K, so even though you are thinking that you are just writing 1 byte, but underneath it's actually writing 4K
Okay.
and reading 4K when you are just want to read. So that's why they want to. That's why, I mean, the OS actually buffer some data and then write that 4K in one chunk. But if you Recall that when these files in your normal process, you read write the file. When you write a file, it does not actually flush the data immediately. You have to sync the file if you want to write immediately.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, it will keep that data in the buffer and wait for that. If someone wants to write in the same block, then it will flush it.
Okay.
So when you
So
do this sequential write, so append only. Most of the case, this is append only, so that you don't need to see go back and forward. You're just moving forward in one direction. So
Okay.
that definitely give you the edge and better throughput. So you sequentially write your data to you. Sagar. Go ahead, please.
yeah, so just to add to the Praveen's point, if we keep our batch size equal to that 4K size, then within a single read write operation, we are
Hmm.
importing and storing the whole batch.
Okay.
So you don't need multiple read write, or you are not wasting the read write uh, uh, transaction by just writing half of the messages, just quarter of the messages to the 4K size. So
Oh,
what they are saying is this 4K is a block size. If you keep your batch size same as that, then you are essentially increasing the throughput.
okay. Okay. Got it.
So what they are saying is, in terms of smaller batch size, that buffering won't be there, like that Praveen was mentioning. It will store it faster, but the disk performance will suffer, because now within a, like, where you like in one go, you have access to the 4K, but you only stored 100
Hmm.
100 bytes to it.
Hmm.
That's a smaller batch size, so you didn't actually wait for the messages to be committed or stored. You just immediately, you had 100 bytes, you stored it, but that actually caused the disk performance to go down.
Okay. If the batch size is small. Hmm.
It could be due to small batch size, or you take longer, or it could be due to a fragmented data. Like in a block of 4K, you're just storing one
Got it.
100 bytes, so that means
Yeah.
there will be so many blocks will be used, which are underutilized basically.
Okay.
Does that uh,
Yeah.
answers your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Sagar.
Yeah. uh, Praveen, do you have a minute?
Yeah.
Praveen, actually, I wanted to discuss, like earlier we were talking about Cassandra and the other topics as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, if once a week, if we could go about the advanced topic, and rest of the time we could continue with the Alexio discussion that most of the people are doing. Uh, so would you be interested in like going for the advanced topic once in a week?
Yeah, I can try to join, but I mean, can't commit that. But I will definitely try to join if you can just let me know
Sure,
the
sure.
days.
Like,
For sure. Not Tuesday and Wednesday.
okay, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, how about Thursday, or like um,
Thursday, I think okay.
okay,
Thursday.
so generally, I think Thursdays, maybe just once in a week we can go about this. But in that case, we will just try to read faster and keep the discussion time low. So in that case, like, we can try to cover the like, so one thing I wanted to cover was DynamoDB, Aurora DB, or Cassandra DB, one of the DB.
Mm-hmm.
So we can probably read the research paper, or like basically the any of the paper, or we can also read uh, the any other resource. I think we were talking about the educative.io one as well, right? So not sure, like, whichever is the preference. Educative would be slightly easier, um, the papers could be slightly tougher or like difficult to comprehend. But yeah, so at least one.
Yeah, paper require. I mean,
Sorry.
uh, if I mean reading paper require. I mean more
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
big commitment
correct.
that I mean self study and more discussion.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. So in the, actually, few other folks were also interested, like Aditya, Srini, and like couple other folks. But
Hmm.
since our current discussion was like on a very basic topic, so they said like we can start it again. But they are very much interested if we can do it once in a week.
Yeah, we I can join. Yeah, except Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay.
Thursday is fine if they are.
How about tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow is Thursday, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe we can try to have. So I would ask the rest of the folks if we can have two separate ones, or if they would want to part of this one as well.
Anything is fine.
Yeah, so maybe we can try to go about between 6 to 7. We can read one of the uh, uh, paper or one of the topic like DynamoDB and stuff, and then from 7 to 8 we can have we can continue with this
Yeah, sounds good.
current thing.
Yeah. Do you know what we will read tomorrow? Should we read ahead or we read
Yeah.
seven
So,
or
do you guys have any preference, Praveen, Ani?
No, I don't have. I mean, whatever. I mean,
Yeah, in
you.
that case, I wanted to actually have a read on Cassandra.
so we'll go through all the databases, right? Basically.
Yeah. So
Okay,
yeah,
that'll be great.
yeah. So we can directly start with Cassandra, like the white paper, and then maybe after reading, just having a one run through that, we can come back to the basic Cassandra thing, where others can also follow us through the educative one. But before that, I wanted to have one run through uh, the Cassandra white
Yeah.
paper. But I'm not sure whether we'll be able to complete this within a within 1 hour or not. But yeah,
Oh no, for sure not.
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, for paper, I would say that if you want to discuss the paper, so you should actually one should read it ahead of time and then get involved. Otherwise, I mean, we will just finish 1 or 2 page, not more than.
How about if I can take a I can try basically read it and try to explain as much as I can. If
Yeah, even in that case, Sagar, because you know that I mean these papers are for big system, but very very dense.
yeah, correct. So you
So
mean like what would you suggest? Like breaking it down or just going with something simpler?
no, I would say that I mean whoever is actually interested to do that, so they should read paper in advance.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I don't think so. It's going to work. Say like reading during that 1 hour,
Mm-hmm.
uh, for sure will not work.
Okay, okay.
We can read it and then come with
Yeah, so whichever
the
paper we are
query. That'll
reading,
be more useful.
um, can we put the link to it on WhatsApp so everybody in the group? I think some dropped out already, right? Some
Yeah, yeah.
some people.
I can put the
Yeah.
uh,
Put the link and say read ahead so that way we can discuss it or
yes,
something
yes,
like that. So
yes, yes.
people know. Thank you. I think that will be great.
Yeah.
So we'll do 6 to 7. You do the regular.
6 to 7,
Alex, and
let's
then
do the paper reading, and then 7 to 8 we can do the regular.
okay, 6 to 7 the databases. Okay,
Yeah.
paper reading. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, sounds good.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hello.
You can stop recording.